touch it, hits me right in the chest, and I close it with the phone. Right. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do now? This guy's running at me. Shoot. Right by me. I thought he was going to hit me. And I'm literally like getting ready to brace for getting hit by this guy. He runs by. The horn never goes off, and everybody goes crazy because nobody really knows what happened. Except I know that when I'm looking at the clock, it said 0.6. So I hold the ball. The ref comes over. Now I think I'm in trouble. I don't know why. I always thought, if the ball comes out of bounds, of course you could catch it. As soon as the ref comes over, he wants the ball back now. I say, hey man, sorry. I think it was going to hit my wife in the face. I had to catch it.
Great thinking.
I didn't know what to say. I totally moved forward to catch it. I knew none of that was true. The guy looked at me and he kind of laughed. He goes, don't worry about it. I saw the whole thing. You were out of bounds. The ball, now I don't know the rules in the NBA like we do in the NHL. They go by plane.
Hilarious.
And the guy literally said, no problem. SGA comes over and he's clapping his hands and he's pointing at me. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, what's this guy coming over here to berate me or what? And I can hear the ref. They're only like 6 or 8 feet away from me. They're arguing. He touched the ball. He can't do that, But they were making it sound like I ran on the court. I did not run on the court.
All right. Well, they'll forgive you. Forgive you.
Well, anyhow, the punchline was SGA is like kind of chirping me. And then he listened to the ref. And then he looks at me and he starts pointing at his head.
Yeah, we saw that.
And I can hear him yelling, smart play, like right there. He's looking at me and he's yelling, smart play. And I was like, oh, I try, man, for the home team. And that was all I said. That was the whole thing.
Hey,
and it would have been so epic if the Timberwolves could
just
come back.
Out of curiosity, I think you got invited. You mentioned you got invited, but if you didn't, how much is a playoff ticket on the floor in the NBA?
I do usually go to at least one game every round. I think maybe I'd been to 3 or 4 games prior to that one. I always sit on the floor. I generally sit right next to the Timberwolves bench because I have a friend that owns 4 tickets there, and him and I are buddies, and we go to the game, and I buy the tickets. And they have progressively moved to a very, very expensive amount. So much that this round I went to the game before that and paid for it. And my buddies said, I'll just make up numbers. But he said, oh, it's like $4,500. And I was like, oh, I'll do that. Sure, I'll go for $4,500. We go to the game, and I always tease him every time I go. I go, hey, man, do you mind if I resell these and don't actually go before we go in? I say it every time, and he gets mad and says, no, I've told you could never sell them. I'm like, okay, go to the game. Okay, I'll send you a check. How much do I owe? He's like, $9,000. I was like, what? He's like, $9,000. I told you they were $4,500.
For the pair.
Each. Wow.
So anyhow, I was resolved not to go to the next game. And a friend of mine calls me and says, hey, I can't make it. Why don't you come? Be my guest. It was very kind of him. I did not pay for that ticket. And I appreciate it. It was an amazing basketball game. I was super happy to be there, super impressed with OKC. Minnesota didn't play well, but it just reminded me of what I thought we would see last night, quite frankly. We saw some of it, but not as much between Dallas and Edmonton, as we'll get your viewers back onto talking about what you guys do every day. Hockey.
Yes.
Where you had this massive desperation by these teams in the NBA.
Well, we'll turn the page. Yeah, we'll turn the page and turn it to the hockey, because it is happening right now. There's a very real chance of a rematch between Florida and Edmonton. Do you see any way that we don't end up with last year's final?
Well, of course there's a way, but it's not looking promising. I was just kind of looking at, how these teams are doing in records. I think Edmonton is 11-4 in these playoffs, which would be a great run at any time during the regular season, never mind the playoffs. And Florida, on the other hand, is like 11-5. Dallas is practically 500 now. They had that incredibly challenging series against Colorado, which I'm sure they felt very fortunate to win. So, the best two teams, in my opinion, so far it's clearly Edmonton and Florida. And if they do play, it feels like it would be apropos. The thing that fans have to understand is that the playoffs are not always linear. Toronto gave Florida all they could. Just, flat out, almost beat them. And yet Carolina comes along and it's looked like it's been a challenge. It can be the most difficult thing to wrap your head around because you're always trying to evaluate your team and see where they're really at. But it's been a bit of a strange playoff, in my opinion. I thought Vegas would give Edmonton better series. I thought LA started off strong against Edmonton and gave them a better series, but faded. But a lot of information to digest from these playoffs so far.
Lots. I'm the first one to say I was just dead wrong that the Oilers couldn't advance without Matthias Ekholm, and so far they've proven me and I think a lot of people wrong here. But can they do it twice now without Zach Hyman the rest of the way?
Certainly gets a lot challenging. Sounds like Zach, had wrist surgery, which was very bizarre because I was watching that play and I really couldn't quite figure out what happened in the moment. Kind of makes sense when you know the final outcome. But can they advance without him? Boy, I'm with you, Kipper. I would not have guessed with how their blue line played in the regular season that without Matthias Ekholm, they'd be able to be this dominant. It's a lot of credit, in my opinion, to obviously all the players, their decor in particular, but to their coaching staff too. It's really been a tale of two seasons for Edmonton, the way that they have played defensively. Offensively, they are what they are. Nobody ever questions that. But their ability to come together as a team at the right time, Darnell Nurse kind of staying within the lines, Evan Bouchard doing exactly what he's done the previous 2 years. Wallman has certainly been good. Brett Kulak has been out of this world. And then I think John Klingberg kind of jumping back in after not really being physically prepared enough, not by any doing of his own, just by virtue of the injury he was coming off, where he really couldn't compete in the regular season and just needed more time. So the resurgence of him coming in and playing the way he has been a massive game changer for Edmonton.
Yeah, it's been crazy as you watch these teams get towards the final. Edmonton waiting for Ekholm, kind of getting stronger, right? Like Frederick and Kane kind of got better. Like the Oilers have gained power as it's gone on, and it feels like for the first time here, losing Hyman could go in the opposite direction. Florida's kind of the same way on the other side, right? Like, as playoffs have gone on, they got Ekblad back, and they kind of found their way back into this thing. When you look at Florida, do you see any reason to think that I don't want to say that they're worse, but that they aren't the favorite? Do you think that Edmonton would in fact be a favorite if they win it against them? Probably not.
I don't think Edmonton would be the favorite by virtue of Florida is the champs. They haven't done anything to change that. Yeah. They had a very tough series, as you guys know, against Toronto. And yet, when the really critical moments came up, they made it look almost kind of pedestrian, rudimentary, elementary, however you want to say it. It just, I was expecting this explosion and we never really got it. Whenever they got really challenged, I felt like they had another gear to respond. So I don't know how you could say that Florida wouldn't be the favorites.
Right.
Hey, Lots, it's not too late to get a ticket along the glass tonight in Carolina, and maybe you can influence that game as well. I mean, it's a bigger challenge with the glass being tall and all of that, but